Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of In the Box, the podcast. And the guest for this episode is super special. I mean, he's a pioneer in the industry. And if you've been in the Delhi NCR area, if you've been a musician, and if you have just been around in the scene even a little bit and are serious about making recordings and getting really good quality records, then you have heard the name Ferris Wheel Studios. And the guest this week is none other than Mukul Jain, who is the owner of Ferris Wheel Studios. And he's an amazing engineer. I mean, he's worked with the likes of Prateek Kuhaad. He's worked with Sukhbir. I've even seen pictures of Priyanka Chopra at his studio. He's worked with Chezin. He's worked with the Revisit Project and just a plethora of indie artists and indie acts that you can even think of. They've probably been there. And, I had moved away to the US. And like when I moved back, I wanted to get back into the scene and I wanted to see, what's a good studio that I can go to before I start my own studio? What's a good studio that I can go to and, track drums, for example, a place that has a good sounding room and that has the capability for so many channels. And I think pretty much unanimously, all of my friends told me that, bro, you got to go to Ferris Wheel Studios. You got to go to Ferris Wheel Studios. So, obviously, I'm now curious. I'm like, well, what the hell's this all about? I've never heard of this place. And everyone's talking about it. So I called up and Mukul answered the phone. And I made a booking for drum tracking. I want to go to track some drums. And I think immediately, as soon as we met, I think 5 minutes into the room, when he saw me do my thing, there was immediate mutual respect that happened over there. And we just ended up becoming really good friends. I think Star Wars had a lot to do with that. We're both huge Star Wars fan. I mean, we do get into it just a little bit in the episode. But, we can literally talk forever. I mean, believe it or not, when we sat down to do this episode, we chatted for 7 hours. Like, I'm not kidding, 7 hours. So it was a huge task to edit this podcast and really get it down. But there's so much cool stuff in there that I really don't want to lose, and I want you guys should be able to hear it, especially the people that are starting in the industry. You guys need to hear it. And so we've broken down the episode into 2 parts, and this is part 1 of the episode. So without further ado, let's dive right in and go deep in the box with Mukul Jain. I'm gonna go deep in the box. Ooh, deep in the box. 1, 2, 3, here we go.
You know what? Here's one thing for sure, man. The day you and I both get vaccinated, you're the first person I'm drinking with, like face to face, because you were the last person I drank with face to face.
Yes!
Before shit hit the fan.
Yes, dude. I remember your house was the last place that I went to. Because when all this shit started, bro, it was like I didn't go to anyone's place for like the longest time. The longest time. I think the next person I went to was my cousin's place after 6 months or some shit.
Yeah, same here, man. Like the only people I would actually trust are these cousins of mine, and they are as like careful about this whole thing as I am.
Yeah.
Bro.
Even that day, I remember we were very careful about not shaking hands. We were very careful about, okay, dur se namaste, whatever, the sanitizer rakha hua hai sab kuch. And cheers, man. Well,
cheers, man.
Cheers, dude.
Cheers to New Year. Cheers to all good things happening this year. And cheers to fucking Trump leaving office.
Yes. So I think just in a couple of hours, Biden's going to be sworn in.
He's left it, yeah.
Yeah. What a fucking nightmare.
Wait, I hope I can drop F-bombs like in this conversation.
Of course, dude.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know something? Jeet asked the same thing on his episode. I think as soon as we started, he's like, oh, I can say fuck, right? I'm like, yeah, dude, come on. This show's not for kids. Dude.
I I love that. It that can mean so many things.
Oh yeah, dude. Like the whole idea for me is to catch up with my friends and do this. And because what I realized is just spending a lot of months teaching, I usually tend to give a lot of anecdotes through conversations that I've had, with friends like you or with friends like Jeet or whoever, Anupam or whoever, right? And there's so much geeky stuff that we love to geek about anyways,
Yeah.
you know? And but just think of it from like a student's point of view. Like there's so much shit that we can talk about that they can probably just learn from, which is
Oh yeah,
very
absolutely.
obvious for
Because
us.
we will sometimes talk about things from an experience and from having to deal with something over and over and over and over and over again,
Yeah.
so that the young guys or the young girls don't have to, or they can be careful about not doing certain things.
Yeah.
Uh, and man, trust me, there's so many stupid things that I have done that I have realized that shit, man, I used to do these things when I was in a band, and I can only imagine I would have pissed the hell out of my engineers at that time. But yeah, I mean, it's so important to have these conversations, and here's where I feel that we were at a disadvantage. You and I are almost the same age. When we were growing up, our only source of finding out how something was done was the bonus CD that we got with our albums.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, it,
Absolutely.
it was like when I bought Linkin Park Meteora, there was a bonus CD with it, and that bonus CD had a few videos, which are 4:3, not even HD,
Yeah.
where they were showing how they made the artwork for reanimation, which then a photograph from it became the artwork for Meteora. Then how they actually do things in the studio. And I remember there was this one scene where the drummer actually says that this is the max I can show you, not more than this, because other than this is Linkin Park, proprietary
Secrets.
shit. But yeah, that was like we would really have to pause and be like, okay, that bass and shit, he's using that and he's using this. But these days,
Yeah.
the biggest engineers, like from Sheps to Huart to Pensado, they're so open about things. They're talking about the entire processes and the way they talk, the way they go through. They talk about the way they go through their entire mix thing, and it is just so much. You get to learn so much more,
Yeah.
and whereas us, we had to literally just listen to a song, and then listen to another song, and be like, that's the difference. You've got more mud in the fucking guitar here. You've got more
Yeah.
clap in the kick here. Slipknot, man, I can't hear the kick at all. It's just
Yeah.
like it's not,
It's just the click. It's the clicky.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I could tell that obviously, yeah, okay, there's a difference between, a Delhi indie band recording at the time as opposed to a Breaking Benjamin or
Absolutely, there was.
Slipknot.
There was.
But I had no fucking idea what that difference was. And I
Yeah.
think learning, just
Yeah.
studying this gave me that clarity. And I think there are few people who didn't have to go to school for this, and that's great for them, and that's awesome, and super brilliant guys. But I felt actually going to school for this was an eye opener for me.
No, but you will also agree that, school, even though it did play a good part in your education and speeding up your education, at the end of the day, what made you better was practice.
Oh,
You know,
of
you
course.
you cannot undermine that at all. I mean, it's just a fact that even if you didn't go to school and if you practice your skill enough, sorry man, like I'm just getting a lot of fried potatoes here.
That's good. I remember we had that at your house. Fried potatoes and whiskey. It's almost like being back at yours, dude.
I think what people, especially the students in India, I can't really
Yeah.
speak for the Western world because honestly, I've never worked there.
Yeah.
But at least for the students of India, I've seen this trend happening a lot that they go to Australia, they go to US or someplace in Europe. They come back and they're like, मैं तो पढ़ के आया हूँ, मेरे को तो अब सब आता है, and I'm gonna charge as much as the guy who's been doing this for fucking 10 years.
Yeah.
And they end up putting out something that's definitely not making the artist happy.
Yeah.
And then, they have to re-educate themselves all over again that, okay, I've got my degree,
Yeah.
but I've still got things to learn because, it's literally like you can be told what this mic is, but how you can make it sound best is something you have to learn yourself, depending on your room, your
And how
artist.
you can actually hear the difference between the mics. That's experience.
Yeah,
That is time.
yeah.
That is
That,
ear training, man. Okay. So I thought that uh, coming back to what I said, I thought that that actually studying this really cleared out my concepts. But I would say my true education started when I became an intern. That's when like actually going in there, setting up microphones, actually sitting in with people, with all these amazing fucking people, man, and just my mind was blown as to just this type of stuff that they were doing, because they've been doing it for fucking 40, 50 years. And it was uh, to me that was a huge eye opener to just see, like, these guys doing their thing, and then listening to the subtle, the subtle differences, and getting that ear training, learning how to deal with customers, which is what it's really about. If you want repeat
I
customers.
you you got it right there, man.
Yeah, dude, it is.
And you'll be surprised to know I've never interned anywhere
Okay.
ever. I I have never interned anywhere, and I have never had a mentor up till just 3 years ago. You know,
Really?
at a
Who's your
stage where
mentor?
people would say, "Why do you need a mentor now?" And
Right.
my reply to that is, "You will always need a mentor.
Always, dude. Of
There will
course.
never be a time in your life where you won't need it." And I realized this when I got one, and I'm so grateful for the person. His name is Dan Swift. He
Okay.
is he When I send him a mix, he sends me back a session. Okay. He's gonna apply some EQ and some multiband, and he's gonna like, this is what I did to it.
Okay.
That is better than telling me, you could pull down some 118
Yeah.
here and there. Dude, he just does it and sends it to me.
Yeah.
And that is so great. And then the best part is that he actually sends me his work.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's unmastered. I want to see what you are going to do. And send me back the session. And since I'm working on a different DAW, I have to make presets of the fucking plugins and I have to send that to him. But in any case, like I do that and I send him a screenshot of my chain. He
Yeah.
applies that, and like he also feels like, man, this is like a new way of working, because a lot of people come. He's 74 plus. Okay, he's senior, and he comes from an age where rock, especially rock albums, wouldn't be very bass heavy. Like they would be guitar heavy because that's what rock was about at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But these days he's like, man, I get so many clients who scream and shout, so many artists who scream and shout, I want more kick, I want more bass, and I increase it for them. But then they end up comparing it to electronic tracks, or semi-electronic tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, that's just not my forte. I've never done that. I have never worked on, apart from probably a layer for the bass or just one, two synths here and there. I've never worked on fully electronic samples, and, by samples, he means like literal electronic samples, not your easy drummer or your addictive drum samples.
Right. Right.
So,
right.
it's not my forte. I don't know what I'm doing, is whether it's going to sound good or not. So, but to see what you do gives me clarity that, okay, this is how, the new young guys are, asking for things, that's how they want their low end to be. Whereas I get like an expert opinion on the overall mix, and man, 2 plugins is all he takes. One EQ, and sometimes just an EQ. One EQ, one compression, and the song comes back sounding 10 times better. Like, dude, how the hell do you listen to that shit and know that this is what I did wrong? Okay. And
Yeah.
it is simply amazing. But
Is he a
I think
mastering guy? Is he a mastering engineer?
he's both.
Predominantly?
He's a mixing and a mastering engineer. He's a visiting engineer at Abbey Road, and he's the chief engineer at Brighton Electric.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah,
as well,
he's produced the famous Snow Patrol for Passenger. He's produced 2-3 albums for Aqualung. Like he's worked with some big people in big studios and all that. But I was coming to is, since I've never been an intern myself, when I opened I've always been working out of my home studio. And when I did open the first commercial space, the first time somebody came and asked me, hey, can I intern here? And I was like, dude, I don't even know where to begin. Like, that was a learning experience for me. Like, what do you expect out of this internship? What do you expect out of me? And what can I expect out of you?
Yeah.
So I got these mails from Pearl Academy, NIFT, because they've started their video courses and designing courses, and and at the time I was also doing video things. So like, can we send you an intern for 3 months? I got calls from Sakak. Chintu started telling people, go to Ferris wheel, he'll give you an intern. And I'm like, man, wait, hold up. Stop sending me guys. Just
Dude, you got me my interns.
yeah. So
And one of them is like my assistant now. He's assisting
nice.
me on
That
pretty
skinny
much,
short guy, right?
no, not Bharg, the other guy, Harshit.
Oh, okay.
Harshit, yeah. So, and in fact, he is kind of co-composing. So I'm working on new music right now,
Amazing.
and potentially an album. I don't want to commit to that word, but potentially. And the whole the thought process of the album is something I've always wanted to do, because I've always loved Metallica's S&M. And, I've been a huge fan. It's one of my top albums. I've always wanted to do something with a symphony behind, and he's just an amazing composer and stuff. And so anyhow, so we're composing that together, and it's just it's sounding brilliant.
So-
really good guy, and I got him through you.
Yeah, because he asked me for internship, and I already had 5 interns lined up, and I was
Yeah,
like, man,
yeah, yeah.
it's gonna take a long time.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
why don't you get this guy? I that's what I do. I tell them other people, you're the first guy. I send them to Soul Tracks. I send them to Chintu.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, man. I think what I missed out on being an intern myself, the interns would come and ask me questions that I probably would have never needed to know, because it's not in my workflow, or it's not my style of working.
Yeah.
But they would ask me something, and I'll be like, hold up, let me get back to you on that. And I would do my own study, and then I would actually go the next day or the next free day that we would have, and I would tell my own intern, because most of them are musicians themselves, like, all right, you asked me this, let's record you doing this. Let's record you doing that, and let's learn together. Let's do it.
That's the
And
best thing, man. Just experiment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's try it out, and we'll both learn something out of this.
Dude,
And it's happened so many times in not just audio, even in video. Like, my video interns have come and told me, sir, there's this new technique of moving this camera and merging it with this footage, and getting like a cool ass blur kind of a thing. And I'm like, yeah, go for it. Then one other intern was like, sir, stop putting lights in front of the person. I don't know if you've ever seen Linkin Park Faint video. And I'm like, yes, I have. I've chart out that video. So lights unke piche hoti hai. And I was like, dude, that's like a $100,000 rig where the lights and everything is like, nahi sir, pura six silhouette banta hai, which is really musical to look at, because throughout the and I was so happy to hear this, because he's a film student. He's been learning this, like, because if you see all the music videos, lights are always behind. And I was like, holy shit, I never noticed that.
Yeah.
I've always been so fixated on the sound. I never noticed the video. And then from that conversation onwards, every single Ferris wheel jam video, the lights were behind. Go to hell with the front lights. I don't want them.
I don't
Just
think I've
put
ever
lights on the
seen
back.
a jam video at Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
I've only seen like your Mixed by Mukul videos, which are fucking brilliant, by the way, dude.
Thank you so
love
much.
those. Yeah, dude. I've learned so much by just watching them, and I love the fact that they're so short. And you're amazing. I have the habit of talking. I'll talk way too much. And you have the really good habit of being to the point. And you'd be like, अब इसका attack 0.5 पे कर दिया, और फिर इसका ratio ऐसे कर दिया, और फिर इसको sound पे ऐसे, we'll adjust it to taste, और फिर इसको ऐसे कर दिया, और फिर उसको वैसे कर दिया. And there you go. And I'm like,
My talkative badass comes out in the live shows, man. Like, like I'm talking to you right now. I'm gonna yap away.
but dude, that's what I'm trying to say. That those videos are interesting, dude. They're like, keep making them, dude. They're
you so
really,
much.
really cool. I enjoy them thoroughly.
Thank you.
I especially love the challenge videos.
Oh, thanks.
I still owe you a challenge, by the way.
Yeah,
I haven't
by the
been
way.
around to get around to it. You asked me, but I do owe you a challenge. But they're really cool. I love the Srijan one. I thought that was really, really cool.
Srijan called me himself. He was like, bro, I saw Zaeden, I saw Chetan, मेरे साथ भी कुछ कर. I was like, करो भाई, बिल्कुल करो. And we discussed, I think we had like an hour-long conversation on the phone, and we finally came up to an idea, and he was like, okay, all right, let's do household items, and you mix them and you make them sound like proper percussion or drum kit setup as much as you can, and that will be the challenge. I was like, cool, that's perfect, let's do that. And it's so amazing because very few people have actually came to me with a challenge. Very few people are the ones who I contacted, sorry. Most of the times it's people who call me up and they're like, yo, I've got an idea for you. I watched your video. I've got an idea for you. I'm like, yeah, sure, let's do it, man. And it's just amazing how even that voice challenge, the first one that I did, Bane's voice, was a challenge.
Through the phone?
Bane's voice, how to sound like Bane. Actually, Srijan posted a comment. I want to hear Bane's voice. Then
Is it Bane or was it Kylo Ren?
No, Kylo Ren was the first one.
Okay.
After that, I did Bane's voice.
Oh shit, I didn't see that one. Okay.
And on Kylo's video, he posted, man, I want to hear Bane's voice. Then Chetan commented, bro, I'm right there. Then Chetan called me up, listen, I can do this. And he spoke one of Bane's dialogue, and I'm like, holy shit, let's do this.
Wow. You should have done a fucking AB. Holy
Yeah. I did an AB. I always do an
I
AB.
gotta scroll through your profile and check that out.
yeah, there'll be Bane on the cover. Check it out. But it's really amazing, man. I think Zaeden was one person I contacted to. I told him, listen, I want to do a challenge with you. And the other person was Sukhbir, sir. Obviously, I mean, like, you're gonna have to contact him. And he was so sweet, man. He just was like, yeah, for sure, man. Anything for education. And he was really, sweet. He sent me his stem files. He sent me a video right then and there within a matter of half an hour. I was like, wow, this is amazing. I didn't even have to discuss anything more than that. And, just a gem of a person, man. But yeah, it's amazing. Then Kamakshi got in touch with me. He's like, hey, you want to do Billie Eilish? Like, yes, let's do Billie Eilish.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy. Damn, that was very, very cool.
Yeah,
I
man.
genuinely like the way that they produce their records. Billie Eilish and her brother.
Man,
Yeah.
it
Finish.
really. I'll tell you what. People have been doing this since before Billie. Okay, since before
Yeah.
Billie and her brother. But I think the way they went about marketing it is what really helped the music scene out. They marketed their album from the point of view that it was home produced. And I think they saw the importance of that because they understood there are so many people like us trying to make music at home. We cannot afford a studio with an 88R or, like with a 100 square foot goddamn live room, 1000 square foot live room or something like that. And they marketed their album from the fact that this is home brewed or this is literally standing on a street recording a goddamn red light. Okay. The chime of a red light or something like that. And
The ticking of the thing. I saw that, yeah.
And we just got creative with that. We did not worry about where it was recorded, what guitar it was recorded on, what instrument and all. We recorded a sound, we put it in a DAW, and we went by that. And I'm a hardcore believer in that. When people ask me, so how do I record a Misa Boogie amp and how do I mic this amp or how do I, record like a classical guitar and everything? Record board. How do I mix this when it was recorded like that? I'm like, listen, never in my life have I ever asked how this was recorded. Okay. Because as a mix engineer, once I have the sound, I'm dealing with the sound.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't bother me whether this was recorded on a Neve or on a Focusrite.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It shouldn't bother me whether this was recorded on a Fender or on a cheapy Ibanez or on a high-end Ibanez.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I have the sound now. This is what I've got to work with and this is what I've got to deliver.
Right.
Start approaching sounds and not as, oh, this is a Moog thing. I better respect this signal because it's come out of a Moog. So I am not going to cut the lows out. I am not going to do this.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Are you're being biased
what the song
towards
needs.
brand
Yeah.
value. You're literally being like the person who has Chanel tattooed behind their head.
Yeah.
Don't do
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
stop being brand conscious. It doesn't matter if the sound is from a Moog or if it's from a cheap synth or even if it's from a virtual synth.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, you've been given a reference track, you've been given sounds. Do whatever is necessary to match your mix to the reference.
Yeah.
Stop worrying about what the source was.
Yeah.
I mean, unless if somebody's done this and sung, then I'm gonna make an issue.
Yes.
Like you can't do that. You need to re-record the thing with a little distance with the mic.
Right.
That is basically something else. But you understand, right? When people give too much shits about, oh, this was recorded on this legendary thing and this legendary snare and that legendary mic and by that legendary strings on my bass and all.
And all that is good at the stage of recording. All that is good. You obviously do want a great sound source, obviously.
Yeah, that's a recording.
That's a recording
aspect.
thing. But once you get the mix,
Stop worrying about it.
yeah, deal
Ignore
with
it.
the mix. Yeah. You know something? So that's a very good point what you made, because when I just like graduated my program and became an intern, I remember, I think I'd sent Shrijan and Nikhil something to record and send it back to me. And I remember asking them, tell me the mics you use for each and everything on the drums and stuff. And now, like 5 years later, when I think about it, I'm like, that was so stupid. What the fuck do I need to know what they recorded?
Now my
it on?
question is, was the drummer good? Did he hit the snare properly or not? Did he put his hi-hat away from the snare or not? How high up were his cymbals? Or were they stuck to the shells?
Yeah.
That's what I care about now, because I need to know how hard my life is going to be during the mix.
Oh my God. Dude, but how has this lockdown been treating you, man? Like how's it been doing for did you
Man, the vid entered my house and it wasn't a pretty scene.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking to see a loved one suffer alone and you can't even do anything about it. It truly is, man. It is, I if you haven't experienced it, I'm so happy for you. It is not a good thing. I mean, it's
Well, no, I mean we've had a COVID in our house as well.
so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If you've been safe from it so far, I will
Yeah.
really, I'm so happy for you, and I will tell you to keep on taking the safety measures that you're doing.
Oh, dude, absolutely,
The
absolutely.
problem has come from the young people who got it and were not affected by it so much. They tend to see it as something that, kuch bhi nahi hai yaar, why is everyone making such a big deal about it? But I saw an elderly person go through it, and the aftermath of that is not a pretty sight, and it's not. It is very disturbing mentally, because right in the other room there is somebody you love to death, and it's going to, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't go in there. We've got one other family member who's the designated person who will go in with a PPE kit, and now that person will go back to their room and stay in there because now they also have to be quarantined because they've been going in. So there are 2 people in the house who are now quarantined and can't even meet their own family members. And I'm sitting here, I can't go in because I need to make sure that my dad doesn't get it from me. And me and my dad are handling stuff like call up this doctor, call up that doctor, try and find a bed, try and find, a place in a hospital somewhere, finally get that done. Then, and thankfully they did let the patients take their phones in the ICU. So we could speak, and that was there.
FaceTime
Even
or
then,
something. Yeah.
it was difficult, man. It's very heartbreaking. It's very, very heartbreaking.
No, dude, absolutely. And I mean, I was lucky. Like my bhabhi had it. She was positive, but thank God that she was asymptomatic. But even then, she was quarantined in her room. She
That's
did not
very
step out of her
responsible.
because
That's
look,
very-
you have to be sensible that just
Yeah.
because you are asymptomatic doesn't mean everyone else is going to be.
Yeah.
And you have to have the respect for the people who might be symptomatic.
Yeah.
You have to have respect for that. Like you can't. Yeah, this I find it very disrespectful when like a lot of these Trump supporters when they say
Oh.
not to make this podcast political, but like
I don't even want to go overseas right now. I just want to talk about my countrymen.
dude, India is doing so good now.
Now, but
It's
my
doing
point
so
is
much
like
better.
people still, you walk out. I don't know if you walked out.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a damn, dude. Nobody gives a damn. They're just walking like nothing's wrong. And See, the thing is not about how serious it is. The thing
People had a
is,
rave in Goa, and everyone at that party apparently tested positive. This is something I heard. I don't know if it's true.
my God.
But my cousin is there right now, and dude, Dhaval lives there. Like so many of my friends live there, and they're telling me, bro, nobody is wearing masks. Nobody anywhere in Goa. This
Yeah.
is what I'm hearing.
I mean, I'm seeing other people party there, put photographs, and nobody's wearing masks.
Yeah.
See, Rohan, the thing is, it's not about how dangerous is it for you or not.
Yeah.
It's really about a societal responsibility. Okay. It's not that, okay, if you travel, you are probably because you're traveling, you are setting things in motion around you. You're hiring a cab, you're making things move more. You're getting in a plane, you're going somewhere, you're getting to a hotel room, you're making somebody come and clean the hotel room for you before you go in. Then after you leave, you are setting things in motion, which then increase the risk of infection. You may come back home safe,
Yeah.
but you may have set things in motion that would have put somebody else at risk.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not about you, whether you can handle it or not, or whether you don't give a shit about life. It's really about, the societal thing. And the more you delay, and when I say delay, the more irresponsible you are about it, the longer this thing is going to be drawn out.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
there's a reason why New Zealand has resumed normal life even before the vaccine. And we, even after the vaccine, will still take months, if not another year, to resume normalcy.
Yeah.
Because now it's not a normalcy about the medical issue. Now normalcy is about, the economics of things. Because we were irresponsible, because we did what we wanted to do, because we moved out, we fucking went for weddings, we went to Goa and everything. We've extended and delayed the entire process of normalcy. And we are now going to face that in our economy as well. You are not going to be able to, you know, uh, work at the same level you were working before this thing hit till a longer time now.
Yeah.
Servicemen like us are not going to be able to charge our full rate for a longer period now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like as of now, I've had a few clients from India during the lockdown, but overall, uh, well, as of now, if I speak for just right now, as the current situation, 100% of my clients are from the US. So everything is happening through Zoom. So, like, it's really weird for me because I'm such a people person and I love being in the studio and communicating and connecting with an artist and stuff. And the way I've been producing records right now has really been that okay, I'll do the music, I'll build up the track, and then I'll hook you up with a buddy of mine from New York, and he will go and record you, and then you send the tracks back to me. So it's like I'm not part of the process, and like I don't have the artist sitting next to me, and we can't have those conversations.
Yeah, and
stuff.
you miss that, man.
You miss it. You miss it. Yes. Because I love that connection, man. Like some of my closest friends now are people that I've produced or worked with in the studio somehow, and they've ended up becoming very close friends and have ended up coming back to me repeatedly, which I'm very thankful for. I've noticed that about you as well. A lot of artists that I've had, random conversations with on Instagram or whatever, just like, hey man, long time, how's it going? Yeah, man, yeah, good, good. No, we're just working on some stuff. I'm like, oh, where are you recording it? Oh, we're doing it with Mukul, Yeah, we've been recording with Mukul for like the longest time. So you have that loyalty factor, which is so important.
Man, at the end of the day, you've gotta understand that you're not in the. I mean, I like to see it this way from a certain perspective.
Yeah.
Before I'm in the music industry or in the entertainment industry, I'm actually in the hospitality industry.
Hospitality. It's so crazy that you mentioned that. Do you know what my mentor and my ex boss at Engine Room, Mark Christensen, used to tell us? Fucking multi Grammy winning guy. It's all this shit. Great teacher, great boss, or whatever. Every morning in the meeting, if not every morning, but he used to say it in like the slightly bigger meetings, the the everyone has to be there compulsory type of meetings, he'd be like, we are not in the business of recording. We are in the business of great sandwiches. And he'd go like that. And he's like, because the artist is look, everyone can put a microphone on and press record,
Yeah.
but the artist is going to remember the kind of sandwiches that you served him, and that sandwiches could be anything. It could be fucking
No,
donuts, or it could be fucking.
I see it this way.
It could be lines of Coke for all you care, right? It could be fucking whiskey bottles. The idea is that it's the extras, it's the other stuff that
Yeah.
they are going to remember.
Not just that. Like for example, let's say you walk into a Nike store. You walk in with 20, 30 grand, and you walk out with this expensive pair of shoes, and you love it, and you're so happy, and you're so like ecstatic. You've got this dopamine filling in your body, and you just go home. For the first few months, you make sure you never step in a puddle. You've got something in your hands. You're walking out with something in your hands that you can hold and love and hug and all that. When a person exits a studio, they're going empty-handed.
Exactly.
They don't have anything in their hands.
Exactly.
Music exists on the internet, in their
Virtually,
Gmail
yes.
folder, in their pen drive, in the air, basically. The music exists as a vibe. It's not a product that they can hold. Now, let me put this in perspective. A person came to Ferris wheel. They pay 2 grand an hour plus GST. Okay. They did a 10-hour session. They're walking out after paying 23,600, and they've paid double the amount they would have paid a hotel for 2 days in 10 hours.
True.
And within that 2 days, they would have gotten fresh sheets and fresh towels and breakfast on the house and probably something on the house on the mini fridge. Probably a champagne if they went and lied at the reception. Hey, it's my anniversary, so give me a champagne. But the point is that you are paying. If you compare it hourly to a 5-star hotel or even a decent hotel, and a studio rate, a studio is still gonna land up more expensive.
Yeah.
Okay, and a person unconsciously feels that man, I am spending 23,600 here for 10 hours. What am I walking out with? Am I walking out frustrated that there were so many problems? That the mic was falling off, or the cable couldn't be found, or the engineer was busy getting stoned, or, what the hell is happening, man? Or is he walking out like, I had one of the best days of my life. I heard my music coming from those speakers, and it gave me goosebumps. That is my aim. Every
What
time
he's
an
walking
artist
out
comes
with
into the
is
studio,
the
I want them
experience.
to sit on that couch
Yeah.
and hear their recording and be like, wow, this is what I
This
made
is the
this song
shit.
for. To feel what I'm feeling right now is what I made this song for. And I hope that my listener feels the same way.
So, and musicians, so they're walking out with the experience.
Yeah.
They're walking out with the experience of the fact that they recorded at fucking Ferris wheel studios. That their engineer was so prompt and knew what the fuck he's talking about. They like the fact that, oh, we can order food here. Oh, we get coffee here. It's like they're surrounded by all this cool stuff, which they don't have at home. So it's the experience that we went to a proper fucking studio.
Yeah. And not
we
just that, like
recorded.
you've got to, I've noticed this, okay, and I strive for this.
Yeah.
And I tell my artists, I never had to tell you that because you just came and we clicked, and Shardul had already come to the studio. He was aware of it. But I tell, whenever people start asking, no, is this fine? Am I fine? And the first thing I tell them is, listen, you are with me now. You are at Ferris. All I need you to worry about is your performance.
Yeah.
Forget the rest. I am guaranteeing that with a money back guarantee. Stop worrying about how good the signal is. Stop worrying about whether there's noise. Stop worrying about whether there's bleed from your click track. Stop worrying about where the cables are. Stop worrying about whether I'm going to go take a break for fucking 30 minutes to smoke a joint or not. Stop worrying that I might get drunk in the middle of the session or might just pull my hair out and say, please go back home. Stop worrying. Stop worrying that the power might go off and we may have to stop the session. No. Everything is in place. I have designed this infrastructure so that all you need to worry about is you come here, and you worry about your performance.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
You, your instrument, and your performance.
Yeah.
That is it.
Very true.
Get your mind out of everything else. That is my responsibility, is why you're paying me 2 grand plus GST an hour. Okay.
I love how you mention the plus GST every time.
Jai Modi. But
Yeah.
But the thing is that artists, and I can almost sense the bad experiences that they've had in some other places.
Yeah.
That they have to come and ask me that, and I
Yeah.
have to reassure them. You listen to me. If you go back home with a noisy recording today, I am giving you your money back.
Yeah. Or come back and fucking let's redo it. No extra
Or come
charge.
back. No. I let redo is another thing. I used to say that. I used to tell them that, okay, something went wrong. I'll tell you when I do that now. But right now, I tell them if there is an error because of the studio or because of anything in the studio, I am not charging you for this. Secondly, if something happens that was out of my hands, say for example, the power went out and the generator failed. This is out of my hands. Okay.
Right.
I mean, I've put a generator there to the best of my ability. I maintain it and everything. But sometimes technology fucking gives up.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
if something is out of my hands, is the time when I tell them, listen, I'm sorry, this is out of my hands.
Right.
Or for example, when the third floor guy is planning to install a new fucking desk and he's drilling his way in, and he's like, I am not going to stop. I'm sorry, I got my ठेकेदार today. This has to happen today. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, there's drilling happening up there. And no matter how much amount of soundproofing I put in, nobody can take that sound away. Okay.
Right.
So
right.
for this, I tell them, come back another day. I will reschedule and I will charge you half the cost or whatever it is. Because I understand you took time out of your schedule. You told your bands, I'm not jamming today. You took time from other things. Most of you are, doing a second job or doing a main job, and this is like your second thing. You took time off. And time is money. So
Right.
I will compensate for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So यार देख, तेरे को भी चोट लगी है, मुझे भी लगी है. तो चोट आधी आधी बांटते हैं. ठीक है? Simple सी बात है.
Yeah.
But when it's completely my negligence or it's because one of my engineers fucked up, then तो engineer की तो जो खाट खड़ी होगी वो तो अलग चीज़ है. But in that case, भैया तू घर जा रहा recording के साथ और कोई पैसे मत दे मुझे. And even then, I fucking guarantee you will be a better recording than most fucking places you've been to.
Right.
But we can edit that out, right?
If you want me to, yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's up to you.
if you want me to, of course. It's like, dude, anything you want to be edited will be edited.
But yeah, I mean,
man.
it's an experience, and I want people. Yeah, it's when you go to a studio and you're like, cable नहीं मिल रही, 1 मिनट रुको, 5 मिनट रुको, 5 मिनट भी क्यों wait कराऊं मैं उसको? It's like going to a hotel, 5-star hotel, paying fucking 15 grand a day, and the fucking housekeeping guy coming saying, change your own sheets.
Yeah.
Fuck no, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah.
No fucking way. That's not happening, dude.
But see, it's that mindset that flows downwards onto your engineers and then onto the interns and
Yeah.
all the other staff that's there. And
Work
it's
ethic,
that
man,
mindset that makes the place run. And I think that's that mindset that gets the loyalty.
Not just work ethic, but understanding what is important above what. You can get a Pearl drum kit in your studio. Yeah, go ahead, do that.
Yeah.
But if you're not going to maintain it, and if you're not going to make sure that the drummer is the most comfortable he is behind that drum kit,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what that drum kit was.
True.
He's going to go back home unhappy, and you're never going to see that person again.
Right.
I don't have a very expensive drum kit, but I maintain it well, and I make sure that the artist is absolutely comfortable and in the zone, and he's not worried about the person behind the glass judging him. That I think that's another important thing. Most of the times artists get very intimidated behind the glass.
Very,
like,
man.
holy shit, man, like this guy's
Man,
probably
musicians,
recorded like
especially
100
singers,
people,
they're
and
the most-
I don't know what I'm going to do. And
Most insecure people in the world.
yeah,
Musicians.
artists are the most insecure people in the world. And I'm speaking out of experience. I've been an artist myself. You're an artist yourself. And it's what makes us artists.
Yeah.
Our insecurities, our passion, our, shortcomings from being street smart or, being that confident, person who can go sell you a pen for like $100. That's what's making us an artist, because we are able to feel things at an emotional level and deliver them to you, who are the street smart person, who are the confident person, and make you realize the depth of an emotion, the depth of an event.
Right. Yeah.
That's what we do as artists. We tell stories so that you are affected by them. You get an emotional reaction by them. Whereas if we weren't there, these amazing events would pass by you and you wouldn't even know that something amazing just hit you in the face and went by.
Yeah.
So I think as
absolutely.
artists, it's what makes us artists. Our bashfulness, our meekness, our insecurity, our stupid mental issues is what makes us artists.
Absolutely.
And the crazier we are, the better we are at our art, man.
Dude, exactly. Dude, I just realized that we're both wearing Star Wars t-shirts.
Oh, yes. Of course, man. Like, oh, by the way, I also have the Jedi hoodie on this.
Nice.
But I can name each saber on your
Okay,
shirt.
let's do that. Name that saber.
Okay, Palpatine, Maul, Darth Vader, Ren, and Count Dooku.
Woohoo!
By the way, there's a Obi-Wan right behind me over there. You see that?
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Oh shit! I can't see the hilt. I can only see the blade. Oh my god, that is Obi-Wan. That's so fucking great, dude. That's Force FX, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the Anakin one and the green Luke Skywalker one.
Oh, I have the Anakin hilt. I don't have the saber.
Oh yeah, I have the Force FX Anakin saber. I have no idea where the fuck it is because it used to be in my room before I moved to the US, and now I don't know where it is. And then the other one, the Luke one, the green one, I have in the US. But getting back to geeking out about audio. So like, what do you think is? I mean, okay. What would you say is your thoughts behind, like a proper studio versus home studio? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
A studio is a place where you have control over the sound. It's not a place that has equipment. It's not a place that has the mics. A studio, by definition, is an environment where you have control over the sound. And similarly, a photography studio is a place where you have control over the light.
Yeah.
As long as you can control the light, because photography is capturing light, right? As long as you can control the light to behave the way you want it to, it's called a studio.
Yeah.
And the same thing goes with a recording studio. Whether you have a control over the sound or not is what determines whether it's a studio or not. Not the fact that you have a desk with equipment. Anybody can do that. You still don't have control over the acoustics. It's an environment where you have control over the sound.
Right.
Whether it's your studio floor, whether it's your control room, you must have control over the sound. In the studio floor, you got to know where you're getting more bass, where you're getting more brightness, where is it that you're getting the mud, where is it that you can record something that's really loud, where is it that you can record something really quiet without letting the rest of the world interfere in your recording.
Yeah.
And in the control room, you've got to know what are the frequencies that are canceling each other, that are reinforcing each other. You've got to know all that in your control room. And if you can control that, that's great. If you can't control it, but knowledge about them is a great thing. For example, I know that in my control room, I have a phase cancellation at 110 hertz. Exactly. Like, that's the one frequency that has stereo phase cancellation. And even if I boost the 110, like with a very sharp notch, I still won't hear it hitting my ear because it's perfectly phase cancelling.
Oh, so it's the opposite of a standing wave.
Yeah.
A standing wave is when two frequencies
Reinforce.
double.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. It could be the fucking opposite. Oh.
Yeah. So if it's at the perfect time interval, if
Yeah.
it's at the perfect 180 degree interval,
Yeah.
then you will have a polarity shift, and you're gonna have a phase shift, and you're gonna cancel out the frequency completely.
Yeah.
So in my control room, I have 110, and sometimes I forget that that's there, and I have a 10-inch tom on my drum kit, which is a bitch to mix. So sometimes when a drummer goes like tune to tune to tune to tune to tune, and I'm mixing, and I'm like, oh damn, that sounds good. And then I go home, and then I hear it on these speakers or in the car, and all I hear is boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh shit, I forgot about this.
Oh shit! How do you? Obviously, then you adjust your sound and you deal with it.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
get used to it.
I know that it is canceling there. So if I'm not hearing the 110, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not there.
Right.
It is there.
So the
It's
whole
just that I'm
idea
not
is
hearing it.
to know your space. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be a perfect space, but know your
Yeah.
space, and that's the most important thing.
The next time you come, I'll show you. I'll play a song.
I'm
I'll boost
so
the
curious to
110.
hear this. I want to hear it
You'll-
with a sine wave as well.
Yeah. So I'll take a sine wave, I'll put it at 110, and you'll see it go up like that. Okay, but you'll be like, no, this is fine. But then when I shift it, you'll be like, oh shit, that's a lot louder.
Yeah.
Like the minute I came to 200, it got a lot louder.
Yeah,
It's because
yeah.
110 is phasing out quite nice. And I figured this out after like 10, 12 mixes. Okay. And I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up 10, 12 mixes.
But the
But
thing
thankfully,
is,
most of them didn't have a lot of 110 fundamental instruments.
and the sad thing is, well, I don't know if it's sad or not, but the thing is that I'm sure that those clients who you mixed it for probably had no clue. Probably still
No.
sounded good.
No.
It's something that
No, it's
you
not.
realize. It's something.
It comes in passing
Yeah.
things. Like,
Yeah.
when he plays a roll, it comes there.
Yeah.
Or when the bass player goes like, "Toon," in the middle of the slide somewhere, it'll just
be a little dip.
boom a little bit and go there. And yeah, I mean, musicians are stoned as fuck, so they kind of
Yeah,
miss it.
dude, they don't fucking know. Dude, what kind of advice would you give to, somebody that's just starting out in this industry, like especially for locally in Delhi, like or all over India? Like, how would you go about promoting yourself as, a producer, engineer / studio owner?
They're two different things. Producer is different, engineer is different. To be a producer, you gotta have some money, dude. I mean, I'm really sorry to put it that bluntly, but you need to have a financial backing, or you need to have saved up enough on your own where you can take the decisions the way you want.
No, I mean,
For an
I'm
engineer-
talking about like for indie artists. Like, there's so many people that are producing in their bedrooms and they're doing everything themselves.
Are you asking for artists, or you asking for studio owners or people who want to be engineers and producers?
Well, no, I'm talking about in our Delhi circuit, college kids that are starting out and that are starting out by producing their friends or whoever. How do they go about making a name for themselves? But actually, finish answering your question. What you thought I asked first, and then
Okay.
answer what I actually asked.
Man, so there's a difference in producer and engineer, and a lot of people really get convoluted in that.
Yeah.
First off, the rise of electronic music has really messed up the definition of a producer. I'm strictly talking audio right now.
Yeah.
I'm not talking film producers. I'm not talking event producers, anything. No. Just records. Okay.
Yeah.
An album producer or a song producer. A producer's job is not to compose
Yeah.
in the true sense of the definition.
Yeah.
A producer for a song is much like a director for a film.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay.
I've said that so many times. Yes.
He's going to tell the artist, change out your guitar, use that one. Or, not electric, this is acoustic. Or, here, we can probably use some synth instead of the real bass. Or, you know what, the drums are not doing it in this song, chuck it out. Or, instead of piano, we can have the guitar. Or instead of guitar, we can have the piano. But you as an artist, that's your job to perform it. If you can have a discussion with your producer, but you cannot undermine his skill in this regard. Because he's not looking at your song for you. He's looking at your song for the audience and the story that you are trying to show, the story that you are trying to tell. You may feel differently because in the jam room, when you played it on the guitar, you were like, no, I'm really feeling this. Because you were playing it yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
But for a producer, he's listening to it. He understands that this will be better translated in this instrument or in this style. Okay. And that's the producer's job. You've written a song, you want to portray a sad story or a tragic story or a hopeful story. This is how we go about it. Okay. Even though you are very much confident in your head that no, I've been playing this live and I get a very good response. Live is one thing, record is one thing. Live comes and goes and you'll never see it again. The energy of a live show is something else.
Yeah.
Whereas a recording and that same performance, that same instrument will be played back 1,000 times.
Yeah.
That recording should be able to give that same emotional response 1,000 times.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is the reason why songs like November Rain and Bohemian Rhapsody, and I should have said Bohemian Rhapsody first, have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Because they're telling the story and the producer ensured that the story that they're telling is complemented by the arrangement and the performances. If the producer tells you that harmony is conflicting with your vision, with your story, listen to him or her. If the producer is telling you that this solo does nothing to progress the story, it just comes in the way and delays the inevitable outcome, listen to them. Sometimes a guitar player in the band will be like, no, but this is my solo. I have prepared so hard. I've written it so, meticulously. But bro, your singer is trying to tell a story which needs its climax to come earlier.
Yeah.
Which needs its closure to be delivered earlier. You can't make an audience wait for that.
And that's
They
the
will lose
balance
interest.
between doing what's right for the song and satisfying your customer.
And that's when
Yeah.
you invent the last chorus with a solo. You get it?
That's fucking brilliant.
It's like, तू खुश रह भाई, तू सोलो बजा, पर वो साथ में गाएगा.
Yes.
So
yeah.
that's how you find middle ground with the artist, If you go to a producer, if somebody comes to me and says, I want a hit song, I don't care if it dies after a year, then my mind is working differently.
Yeah.
Now I'm thinking of trends. All right, no reverb, fuck that. We're going to get a drop. We need a trap drop. We need a rapper. Get in a rapper.
Nail on the head. What you just said. Okay, so whenever I'm working with a new artist, the first thing I ask them is, okay, guys, what is your goal with this? Do you want this to be on the radio? Do you want this to be charting on some sort of, charts? Or do you want it to get commercial recognition? Or is this something that you guys are going to be cool with listening to in your car and having your friends and family listen to it on their phones or whatever? Because that changes the way that I approach this record. Because if you just want to listen to it in your car, then let's do whatever the fuck. I don't care.
You can have 1,000 people dance to it, or you can have 2 people cry to it.
Yeah.
You make your choice.
I want the 2 people crying to it.
Which is a much more powerful emotion.
Yeah. Do it. Yeah.
And it could be anything else, not just crying. It could be extreme hopefulness and extreme happiness as well.
Yeah.
But that's the decision you're going to have to make. Trying to find a middle ground in that, na tum idhar ke ho, na tum udhar ke ho. If you're trying to be commercial at the same time trying to tell a story, commercial people are not going to like it.
Yeah.
Why do you think Taki Taki is such a big hit? What the fuck does Taki Taki mean? I don't know. But when I get drunk, I like listening to Taki Taki.
Yeah.
But when I am, sitting in a mood, I want to listen to Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Okay. It's as simple it's as simple as that.
Yeah, dude. Absolutely, man. But it's so crazy that now the way I look at things is in a very, very emotional way. And it's very, very like, okay, what is the fucking emotion of the song? And even like, things like what plugin I would use, or things like what compressor I would use, or what mic I would use is very. It's driven by that emotion. You identify the
Yeah.
emotion first.
That's also a job of the producer.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I
yeah,
missed.
dude. Absolutely, absolutely, it is nice. But dude, you created what is probably the best fucking studio in NCR. Like, now when you and you built that shit like from scratch. You built it yourself. You fucking planned it yourself. So you're very hands on, right? Um, which is the total opposite of me. I mean, how did you get the word out, and like how did Ferris wheel become Ferris wheel?
I I didn't.
You
You
didn't.
know, so the thing is, I from 2008 till 2015, I worked out of my home studios, multiple home studios. I had one in Chennai, two in Bangalore, three in Delhi. So I worked out of these studios. I did lot of corporate jobs. And I keep saying this, my biggest break was working in theater. Theater, that job in theater itself didn't pay me well. But my God, the amount of, networking I got from there.
Yeah.
The amount of people I met from that 1, 2 gigs. I've done three theater performances, theatrical performances, the sound execution and composition for. That's it. But the amount of networking, because in a single theater performance, I met 20 actors, 5 of whom were singers. I met a director who also does ad films. I met set designers who also are into short films. I met carpenters who knew or had worked on previous studios. So this all came together from networking well. I worked till 2015. I saved up as much as I could. And at the beginning of 2015, I was like, I want to build a studio where musicians can come and say that this is where I want to record the music that I've been making for the past 5 years. And I suppose when you, I mean, I don't want to just toot my own horn, but I did put in a lot of work and a lot of heart into Ferris, into the current Ferris.
Yeah.
Before this, it was a home studio.
Yeah.
I built this for the artist, and I didn't say anything. The artist came to me. I guess people recognize that,
I think it's word of mouth.
of course,
Yeah.
but they recognize the effort you put in.
Yeah.
That here's a guy whose cables are also numbered, man. Like, you know,
As they should be. Yeah.
here's a guy
Yeah.
who's put in so much effort in a studio. It's not the gear. The first reaction from anyone I get from when they enter Ferris is like, man, I love the vibe of this place.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely.
They look at the gear later.
Yeah.
I can't even get to that before they start saying things like, holy shit, I could spend my life here. And I'm like, yes, that is, I will consider that as the best compliment ever. It's better than you've done a great job on my mix.
Yeah. No,
Because I've
dude.
given you a space, I've given you
Yeah.
a studio
Oh,
where
dude, it's
you can
definitely a
come
vibe. Like, I
and
mean,
feel creative, where you can, it's not a studio in a basement somewhere where you're
Yeah,
like, oh, when am I going home?
yeah. I
Or
mean,
when am I going up to get a smoke break?
yeah. So, like, let me give you my point of view of what Ferris is to me, and maybe that'll give you a break from talking since your, your throat's fucked. No, to me, it was a great space. When I walked in the first time, I'd never met you. I'd spoken to you on the phone, and I was engineering Shardul's, some shit for him, right? And the reason that worked out is because I actually wanted some pictures working in a studio space for my studio, and Shardul wanted an engineer to to engineer it. And he's like, and
No,
he's
he
like,
wanted
oh,
a producer.
sorry.
He wanted a producer.
Well, I think for that particular session, he just basically wanted somebody to, and he's like, oh, he's like, I know you've spent all this time in New York, and I've never really worked with you, so I want to see what you can do, with my drums. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, well, I've heard a lot about this Ferris wheel studios. Like, everyone I fucking talk to, I've been away for 5 years. All of a sudden, I come back and there's this space that everyone seems to know, and that I don't. And I'm like, okay, well, I want to go there. So, and then I think I had a brief chat with you on the phone about the microphones and stuff, and the microphones that I had requested. I think you had you had most of them, but not all of them, and you had some different options. And I'm like, well, fuck it, let's try it. I don't give a shit, Um, and I think with you, I think the mutual respect came right from the get go, because I felt like, okay, thank God I'm dealing with somebody who knows what they're talking about, who know their shit. And then I walked in there, and I felt, and I felt uh, that you were very protective about your space, because obviously you'd built this, and you were kind of in the room watching what I was doing. And I think after a couple of minutes of seeing what I was doing, you're like, I think he knows his shit.
Yeah. I left the room then, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, I think he knows his shit. So, but that was a fun session, because, and what I like about us is there's always this mutual learning. Like, I love to try new things. Like, when I came for the Victoria's Secret session, remember I told you that I'm like, dude, I want to try some new shit, because I saw Chris Lord Alge doing it on some video on Mix with the Masters, and I'm like, let's try it. If it sucks, then it sucks. But if I'm not going to try it on my song, who the fuck else's song will I try it on? And it was 50%, because we tried two new things, and one of them sounded shit, one of them sounded great. So we kept one of them, and it was a cool experience. And I remember you were a little apprehensive about the fact that the overheads were a little too close. But I'm like,
Yeah.
No, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. we set a pad on the mics, and everything was good. And that song fucking went #2 on the fucking charts.
Yeah, congrats on that, dude.
Fucking congrats to you as well. Fuck, it's just it's mind blowing, dude. But that's the thing. What you were talking about, people going to a studio and having experiences. I'd like to add one more word to that. I leave with memories. Like, when I listen to stuff that I've worked on, I hear memories. Like, I'll hear conversations when I hear a drum groove or something, or like when I hear this guitar lick or something, like I'll hear those memories. That's what matters to me.